play along with them. So they recorded all these things on the little cassettes. Now we've got all those tapes, or whatever you want to call them, and you can't find anything to play them on. So anyway, then out of frustration, that good son-in-law who plays the piano for him at Syttende was down last weekend, and he took home the book that they did, and he recorded some songs on there, still on the little thingamajigs. But anyway, so it came in the mail yesterday, so he could. Yeah, you really ought to show him that case.
The best thing about this thing is the case that holds the song. Absolutely the best part. It's a little humid out today, so I'm concerned on I'm going to have that much good fortune in giving any form of entertainment. I will try. Takes an awful lot of rock. Play a song. I'm going to play a song first, and we'll discuss a little bit about it and see what you think. When you got that far, now you would play.
As soon as my glasses find
Second one from the left.
Oh, up
There.
here. I found it.
And this is Hills from A till Yemen, which I'm sure you all know.
He isn't coming.
Good time. Okay, we're supposed to be playing now.
You better talk some more.
Come on, Brad.
Come on, Brad.
Come on, Brad.
Scared me.
Boy, is that loud.
I gotta get some more attention on this thing. When I first heard a fellow plays, I'm ready to go.
You gotta find stop. Where's stop? Don't play, I guess.
Don't stop.
That's on the left. You recording?
No, that stays down all the time. Now,
That's a good one. That was a short one. First time I ever heard a saw play was the fellow that came to our church. Actually, he was from McFarland. He was a jeweler, and he came to our church and played the saw. And first time I heard it. He had a different style than what I use, but now what are you gonna do?
I can put it down here where I can see it. These bifocals don't work up here.
Anyway, I went home, well, it fascinated the fact that he was getting, I'm a carpenter by trade. So when he got music out of a saw, that was something. And of course, this is right off the garage wall. It's a Townsend saw, made by distance, just a standard saw. And I started hacking away at this thing on the garage. And it was our anniversary, and I told the wife, come on down there and see if you can recognize anything I'm playing. And so what did I play? I played this, I think. It's damn today. Well, you recognize what it was. Which sold her anyway.
Well, let's put it this way, I was awful glad I could recognize what it was.
Is he interferes with the bow, is that it?
Think of it as, on humidity,
Yeah, it's just
kills
really
you. You can't get enough, it just won't pull anything on the bowl. It takes a lot of rock. Okay, let's see what else we got. What have I got in there?
Well, we'll try to.
We lost the last one. I think you did.
I did it.
But anyway, that's the saw. Now, the trouble with playing a saw is not just a matter of bending this kind of key. You have to bend it twice. And I'm past the stage of being able to bend this, that double bend up here. It's got to be bent up here too. At 85 years of age, I'm just too damn weak to do it. So I can't hold that kink, that double kick in it. Could I get somebody to try it? Somebody that's,
Could you put a
some young
clamp?
sprout that's strong enough to bend it right. Try it.
Could you put a clamp on that?
Pardon?
Could you put a clamp on that?
A clamp.
No, I'll show you that later on.
By the way, that last song that he played, I think is absolutely beautiful. And the song is Let Us Live for Each Other. Are you acquainted with that?
Don't take it off loud, there's gotta be some there.
Let us live for
That's
each
plenty,
other.
that body a little more than you need, but it's gotta have that double kink in there. And of course, now you gotta move the whole thing up and down, or whatever you want. Low notes you gotta play down here. You know, see, if you don't bend it too much, then you play that down here. That must be good. And you play a higher and bend it down, now the whole thing down. No, that's gotta stay there. That's a gimme. You're playing the high. You're playing the high. Now drop it down. I think that you're probably covering a lot of the thing there.
Covering the hole.
Yeah, well, the whole, I thought I brought the rest of yours. This is something that I've seen done now. There, now you can put that kink in it, only it has the real radical.
Then we gotta have this place?
Yeah. By the way, that sandpaper is on there so you don't lose. Well, you got it there. Now you got pretty too much. There. Well, you know what it's like.
I'm not a musician.
I'm not either. I'm not either. Believe me, I'm not. But I gotta get my act together. In the meantime, I just feel you gotta rest up a little bit here and tell you a few of the old Norwegian stories that when Ole and Lena went into town, walked all the way down to get downtown, they had to go to the drugstore and get some few things, and Ole walks in and the young gal there's standing there right by the door, and she says, well, he says, I'm here to get some talcum powder. And she says, well, just walk this way. And he follows her down through and says, if I could walk like that, I wouldn't need the talcum powder. I hope that isn't too rare for you, but on that same trip in there, Lena spots this big sign that says, drink milk of magnesia. It makes you feel youthful. You'll be youthful. And you know, you're a woman, you have been pretty dull. You're a pretty bad company lately. Why don't you try some of that stuff? Maybe it'll just lift your like that stuff. It's a waste of time. No, she says, let's try it. It's not cost that much. Well, okay. So they get outside. Well, if you're going home too, why don't you take a slug and maybe see how it works? So we took a slug out of the bottle and walked down a ways and, well, I don't feel any different. Well, take some more. It's got to work. So we had another slug. Walks on a ways. Same thing, more or less. Nothing's happened. I don't feel any different. And take another sip, he says, and she did. He said, gee whiz, don't you feel pretty younger now? And he says, well, no, I don't feel a darn bit younger than I did before, but I sure just did something awful childish.
Yeah, I know.
You're up there, you're on the right one.
Yeah, it is. It's just gonna.
Push it.
Because you'll never remember it. That particular song is Nedoven, which is the name of a river that runs through Trondheim. And that's where my family is from. And this was always one of my mom's favorite songs because it reminded her of, as I've said before, I'm firstborn American. And Percy as well is firstborn. Mom was 5 when she came, and Percy's dad was 13?
12.
12.
In
And,
1893.
yeah, my,
97, I lied, 97.
and my family came in 1917, and that's an interesting story. I could very well not have been here. They were on a ship,
The Carpathia.
Carpathia, coming to the U.S., and World War I broke out. And if they had not been more than halfway to the U.S., they would have had to turn around and go back to Norway. But they were more than halfway, and so they were able to continue on.
And the Carpathia was eventually sunk by a German sub. Now the ship that my dad came on, that ended up in the scrapyards in England and got scuttled, scrap iron. But anyway,
You
so
got
we
it,
are,
Jennifer.
yeah,
On that same shopping trip to the drugstore,
Oh.
I think Ollie made this, when he walked in, there was a display of toilet paper.
Oh,
oh
And
yeah,
he was tired of having corn cobs. But in the meantime, they changed the display to film. And he asked for a roll of that stuff in the front window. What size? He said, they gotta be that particular.
that's a good one, you can add to that. Oh,
oh yeah. I don't know what I got on there now.
I don't know, we'll see. Now, I wrote these all down, but did he think of remembering to take this along with it? Oh, sort of 8 o'clock.
Oh, that one. Well, that went a little better. Now, I don't know what we got. Do I have any more? Oh,
You forgot about the ministers. The bats.
huh?
The bats! He can't hear either. You want me to tell him? The trees.
Oh, good, yeah, just, you probably heard this too,
we
as
heard
far as I
something,
know,
yeah,
it's
just-
gone on a little bit. And there, you know, there was a meeting of the clergy, and we had the Lutheran pastor there, and then there was a rabbi, and then there was the priests. And they were just talking about the various problems we had in our own congregations and whatnot else. And the one thing they had problems with was bats. you get bats and flying around and during services in the church, and people, they aren't paying attention to the service at all. They're ducking, they're afraid that bat's gonna get in their hair and all the rest of it. And there just aren't people coming to church. They're scared to come to church because of the bats. Well, you know, we tried trapping them and caught them and haul them off, but something replaced them right away again. And then the rabbi, he says, yeah, we even caught them and then tortured them so they'd squeal, and that didn't help anything. It just kept coming all the time. And of course the Lutherans said, well, we remedied the situation. It was real simple. We catch them, we baptize them, we confirmed them, and then we never see them again. I don't know how your church works, but boy, it's sure, we've been getting rid of bats in ours. It's kind of sad. Oh yeah, and of course we attend the oldest Norwegian church in the United States, in the Ostestaden Prairie. Not the first one that was formed. They formed with a regular Norwegian educated Christian preacher. Came to, well, he finally got off of Milwaukee and came out to the Ostestaden Prairie. And over at the East Ostestaden, he stopped in a barn where they had a big service for there, and they had a service with communion, and they formed a congregation. The East Ostestaden congregation was the first one that was actually formed. Then he came across the prairie to the west, and he formed the one over there too. Now the thing of it is, and well, the first settler on, that's a little bit more, I got a bit deeper into this. The first settler on the Ostestaden Prairie was
Olaf Roy.
Roy. And he walked out, left his wife in Milwaukee somewhere, and one of those settlements. Walked out there and stepped off 160 acres, and it had a spring on it, so he went back and paid that $1.25 or whatever it was, or promised to pay that, whatever. And picked up his wife, and by this time she'd had her baby. In the meantime, while she was there, she was very sick, and an Indian walked in and took care of her all the while that he was gone out in Wisconsin, traipsing around the woods, stepping off a farm. And that Indian, although he never spoke a word, he took care of her and brought her food and got her through the pregnancy that she had, when she had, I think she did get, she did get all the way back there with the baby. But eventually the baby died. And he only made a casket for the kid and walked up on a side hill with a nice beautiful view and buried the child up there. Well, when Dietrichson come now and to the West Church, they had this first service around a pair of twin oak trees on the Juvie farm. Anyway, and then after the service, they walked up the hill and they had a burial service for this child, which it never had the benefit of the first time around. Anyway, the congregation got together there and they got their church by several months. And of course, so we had the first organized church with a building.
Is this the spring?
And pardon?
Is this the spring church? The name of the church is?
The Ostestaden churches?
No, it's Ostestaden Church. West
Ostestaden.
Ostestaden Church.
That's the name of it.
Spring Prairie.
That's the
Spring
name of it.
Prairie, that's another congregation, but
Yeah,
it's,
that's where my grandfather was
yeah.
born.
But that
But anyway.
happened after, this was in 1844, the West Church. Yeah.
But they,
Was Price the first pastor?
Yes.
this Dietrich Center was the first pastor, and he went back to Norway and came back again. They called a letter of call for him to come back, and he came back to the two churches because that's what he did, went back and forth. I had a rather interesting religious bringing up because the pastor, on every other Sunday, the pastor would have Norwegian services, and on the other Sunday he was there, he had English service. Well, he had 2 churches. So that means that once a month, we got a church, we could go to church where we had English services and understand, and we didn't sit and look and chasing. As a kid, I'm thinking, we're just sitting through Norwegian services, driving down the pattern in the ceiling, because that's about the only thing that was interesting. We didn't know. Hey, I think I was 25 years old before I knew that at the close of the service, he didn't say, receive the upper stall dedication, which was actually apostolic. I thought he said, upper stall, stand up in your stall. That's what I thought he was saying. That's all we could get out of the service, because we never, back up again. My father was 12 when he came to this country, and they got married, and I don't know what they were married, but anyway, in the early years, I'm number 9 in a family of 10, and I'm the first boy. And I always say that's Norwegians stick to it in this. I'm 9th in line, and I'm the first boy.
Told you we quit too soon.
Pardon? And I have one brother younger than I. And another interesting factor, although the 2 of us in our family of the 10 that are left, we are the only 2 that engaged in hard physical labor. And we're the oldest ones in the family. She's 91 and I'm 85 and crawling up on her real fast. And her husband is 95, although he's not doing so well right now. He's been having a little problem. But anyway, we're the only ones that are left out of that family. And, of course, there's siblings all over the country there. I mean, they really are. We are the only pikers in the world. We have 2 children. We got our seed back, and that's it. Let's see, I got one more. I think that, just a minute now. I think this is one from really totally a Norwegian.
Yeah, right. Don't believe them.
Huh? Whatever. There we go. I think.
As soon as it gets here.
I saw it. Here we go. Anybody else to take a shot at this?
Try it.
You can try it.
Yeah, Brett.
Well, give it a whirl.
Don't be so shy.
I guess nobody else is mine.
You're pretty young. You
It's
got
not
the
easy
strong
because it is
bones.
damp. It works ideally if it's a good hot day and the sun is shining bright, then you have no problem. Yeah, that gets pinched between your knees.
I understand what Foley tried that, but he kept breaking the bows. Found that he was using the wrong side of the saw.
Just a little bit,
There you
just a
go.
little bit first. Just get a kink on it. Okay, but now this, you're not, this kink that you get down here is strictly the note you're in. Right there is the big thing, is just to get that little kink. You're gonna back down it. That, see, it's the same, but just.
Put your elbow down, Brett.
It probably is getting. That's pretty much. But don't put such a big thing here. Get down lower a little here. That stays the same. That's constant. but the rest of it, not quite so much.
Keep all hard to control.
But now,
Got it. That's what's hard.
listen here, this kink here has gotta come out there. There. Now, move this, that stays the same, move down. There you go. No, you're pretty much. Something you gotta finally get a feel for if you can manage it. You work at it, you get it. And all you need is just a plain old saw like this.
Good job, Brad.
It's humid when we're playing on Sunday. That's the one nice thing about it, providing the sun is shining. If I can get that sun is shining and this blade gets hot, so it's dry, then it's easy to keep. But it's hard to keep the thing, you know, it's hard to keep it going when you,
Can you tell us about your clothes?
pardon?
Tell us about your shirt, your clothes.
You're close.
Oh, my clothes?
Yeah.
Well, I always say that
Don't you dare.
okay,
He always says it comes from Walmart. And I worked hard on that stuff.
I always say it's from the valley of Walmart, but that's not true.
He always says,
I'm
oh,
not a
my
Walmart
outfit
fan,
comes from
for
the
one
valley of
thing.
Walmart.
Do you know where you'll be playing on Sunday?
In front of the Nordic Nook.
Yeah, they're all right. Where-
After the
Which is
parade?
close to,
Before,
Sunday.
on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Hopefully the sun will be shining.
Yeah,
I could sing you a song if you could sit still long enough for that.
Sure.
sit down again.
He was talking to you.
I'm sure you-
Humidity.
You've surely heard John Johnson's Wedding, haven't you?
yes.
Maybe you haven't. Well,
Is the humidity affect the bow or the steel?
pardon?
The humidity
Well,
affects the bow or the steel?
the steel, because that picks the moisture, and then no matter how much rosin I get on there, it's just about. So I generally, when I had to play this at different places, I've taken it in and set it underneath the light bulb so it dries it out. So that, but even that won't last that long. But anyway, we had the fancy wedding at the hall the other day. We had the alley time, that's what all the people say. And everyone from miles around was dressed up in their best at Johnny Janssen or Cecilia Jansen's wedding. There was Ole Janssen, Emil Janssen, Carl Janssen, George Janssen, Gustav Janssen, and Ole Janssen. And Ben Janssen, he was there too. Now the bride, she was so lovely because she was dressed in white. Her hair was trimmed with roses, her face was smile was bright. And when the president says, yeah, you are the Janssens quite well, we all jumped up and danced at Janssens' wedding. You heard this.
Yes. Bruce Ballroot, I don't know if you've heard of Bruce Ballroot. He sings it.
Well, we had the bride, she was so lovely. Did I get the bride?
Yeah, you got that.
Okay, we had a lot to eat that night. The supper, it was fine. With Nickabra, a loot fisk, I eat most all the time. With lingonus to silta, or coffee or sugar beet here. We had a lot to eat at Janssens' wedding. There was Ole Peterson and Emil Peterson, Carl Peterson and George Peterson, Goodis Peterson and Peter Peterson and Larry Peterson, he was there too. Well, we had a case of whiskey, we had to take the beer, and when we drank it all up, we went and got some beer. The bride, she just drank off of it, but Johnson, he had beer, and the rest of us got drunk at Johnson's wedding. There was Ole Halverson and Emil Halverson and George Halverson and Gustav Halverson and Jan Halverson and Ole Halverson. Halver Halverson, he was there too. We had a lot of fun that night. The boys sure, the girls sure was fun. The girls the worst, so yeah, I'll leave that. She knows everyone. But then my wife, she takes my arm, and that's enough for you. She says, so that's the way it was at Johnson's wedding. There was Ole Knudsen and Evil Knudsen and Carl Knudsen and George Knudsen, Ole Knudsen and Hjalmar Knudsen and Knut Knudsen, he was there too. And then when we waked up next day, we all was sick in bed. We drunk Tromickel brandy, and that's what the doctor said. But everybody kept talking about what a wonderful time we had, and boy, you bet your life we did at Janssen's wedding. There was Ole Knudsen and Hjalmar Knudsen and Joseph Knudsen and Jordi Knudsen and Knut Knudsen, of course, was there too. I gotta quit on that one. I appreciate your tolerating this whole last course.
Oh, it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
It's not what you call a very well rehearsed or serious.
Well, I wasn't meant to be serious.
It was wonderful.
She made it
It was
sound
a very
good.
fun story.
I don't have any idea. She said she would.
Yeah. You asked where we were, where he would be playing. My daughter owns the Nordic Nook Scandinavian store in Stoughton. She lives in Rochester, Minnesota. So you kind of know who gets stuck with it. And so he just really enjoys the fact that he left a good job at the university to be a janitor. And
Now I got a title, I'm called a building maintenance engineer.
but anyway, I said that our family, between his and mine, and we have more bunads in our family. Bunads, in case anybody doesn't know, it's the traditional costume. And I said, someday we are going to have a float in that Sunday parade, and we are going to gather that family together and put them on that float and say the Nordic Nook family. And right now, Kay and heaven knows, poor Marlene, yeah, geez, I couldn't remember. They are working on something, but there's, I think at the last count, there are 24 for sure and 4 possibles, because we aren't sure now that Melvin, the 95-year-old, is going to be strong enough to do it. And if he doesn't do it, his wife won't do it. And if the wife won't do it, the daughter won't do it. And so we've got a little, but even at that, like I say, we've got one big crew. And we've got ages down to 5 years old. So there'll be all sorts of variety. And are you
Well, I
done
thank
yet?
you again for your
Thank you for
hospitality.
taking time.
I appreciate it. This is no high quality entertainment.
Up in Wisconsin, we're 53, 52 meets 63. There was a little town there, Anthony Burner or some, they had a store that sold stuff for making brunas,
Oh, yeah?
but they've gone out of business. Is there someplace near?
Well, let me say that we tried to do that. We tried to have classes at our store. And of course, it was one of his nieces that was running it, because she has done all the most beautiful outfits. By the way, you asked what his was. It is the telemark jacket and vest, yeah. Which incidentally, we have a generation picture at home, my mom, myself, my daughter, my granddaughter. And when the family, some of the family was over, they gave both of us a real scolding because neither one of us had the Trundalog dress, bunad. And so they got back home, called me and said, listen, it's gonna go up. If you don't buy it right now, that kit's gonna cost you a fortune. So I said, okay, how much? And I sent it over. And it sat in the closet for I don't know how long. Finally, my daughter, my size 4 daughter, got a little older, and she can't get into it. So I no longer can make the bunads. And so we did have it made, so now she has the trundle-log and the family will be happy. So,
There was a reason why she didn't have the other one, it wasn't quite as nice.
yeah, I didn't want the trundle-log one, because there's no embroidery on it. I wanted to do his, because that has beautiful embroidery. And so, okay,
Thank you all for coming
Yeah.
tonight. There's one flyer here about what Mont Lodge will be doing during Syttende.
Okay.
It's the
we
only
know
one
all
I got.
about it.
I'll get it over here on the
Hang on to
table.
that one where the thing going on down here though.
That would be fun,
Yeah.
yeah, in September.
Yeah, that, you hang on to that, will you, Marvin?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And we'll see you in June. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Well-
thank you. And the supper, let me thank you for the supper, that was outstanding, just wonderful. I haven't had group